Have you ever felt like you are your own worst enemy? Hello, good people. Welcome back. It is day 8 of this beautiful lifestyle detox journey that I am on. Today, we are diving in to self-sabotage to make sure you are not the one keeping yourself from achieving your dreams. Self-sabotage is pretty much when a person undermines their own success or progress. It could be something like you want to join the basketball team and you're supposed to go to practice 5 days a week. And then you went to practice 5 days a week. The first day it was rough, second day was rough, and by the third day you start questioning if this is really meant for you. But your whole life, this is all you've ever wanted to do. So it got hard. And you get to practice late. Then the next day you're even later. And then by the third day, you just make an excuse to say I'm sick because you don't want to push yourself. That is self-sabotage, especially when deep down inside you haven't lost the desire to be a great basketball player. You just maybe got surprised that it was going to be some hard competition and it kind of made you scared. So that's a prime example of, that's an example of what it looks like when a person is self-sabotaging. You're pretty much getting in your own way. The interesting thing about self-sabotage is that sometimes you don't even realize it. And that's why I think it's so important that we do self-checks. Sometimes those self-checks it may start with us, but it may require a moment where you actually talk to someone else that you trust to reflect and ask them what they think. So that way you're not lying to yourself, because sometimes you can convince yourself that you are not feeling well, that you are sick, that it does hurt too much because of fear and things like that. There's a couple of things that come to mind when I think about people who are showing behaviors of self-sabotage. And one of the first things is procrastination. Like the example that I brought up with the basketball player, showing up late. It could be a great job opportunity and you overthink so much that you don't make it to the interview. Another example could be something like dating. You see someone who looks like they have themselves well put together and inside you're feeling like a mess. So you may be even getting eye contact from that person, but you don't even talk to them, you don't approach because you don't feel like you're good enough. And then you start telling yourself, why would this person even want to talk to me? Why would they even want to entertain me? I'm a mess. I'm unattractive. Like all the things that we tell ourselves to not even give ourselves a chance. Now, definitely you want to be balanced in some of these areas, because with the business opportunity, if you don't have the funds, there is still something that you can do to start looking at your budget or looking at your income and then adjust some things. Same thing with dating. If there are some things that you feel like you can work on some of those things. But to sit there, try to make no changes, to not even try to speak up or have conversation and just start throwing yourself all these negative thoughts and ideas, you don't even give yourself a chance. That's self-sabotage. Two of the main areas that I like to focus on, for me personally and the people that I engage with, are relationships and financial wellness. You're going to hear me talk about those things way more now. For me personally, those two go hand in hand. But when you like to travel and you like to go out to eat and have different experiences, those things cost. And so if we're not financially well, we won't get to have those different experiences. So that's why I say those two things go hand in hand. Plus, in a relationship, I'm very much on growing together and building together. And so financial wellness is also a part of that. So if you're interested in those things, keep watching. Make sure you watch some of the upcoming videos and then some of the past videos, because I'm going to be focusing more and more. I have been talking about it, but it's going to be really more fine-tuned now as my videos continue. So, how does self-sabotage impact our lives in the areas of relationships and financial wellness? Well, in terms of relationships, one of the biggest issues is trust. trust issues will lead to self-sabotage. I often talk to people in relationships because I have my therapist background, and I have to tell people sometimes, you have to know when you don't belong in a relationship. And I know some of us, because we don't take those times to do those self-checks, or we have other underlying issues, we're not always in the best place. But as long as we continue to talk about it and teach and learn, we can learn to build up ourselves and also our friends and loved ones up to a place where they're using more discernment. We don't all belong in relationships. We all go through stages, and sometimes you're in that stage where you should be just working on yourself. Leave people alone when you have trust issues, because those trust issues will destroy the relationship. Another one, can you believe it? Low self-esteem. So you got into the relationship, and now you are constantly, I hate to use the words, but harassing and badgering your partner because you don't even feel like you belong there. And so that person has to constantly lift you up. Yes, you look good. No, you're not fat. No, you're not ugly. It's okay. Let me back up a little bit, because no one is perfect, right? And so I do understand that we're going to have our ups and downs. And sometimes you may turn to your partner for some support. You may not feel too sure about certain things, especially if you are in a position where you are constantly under scrutiny. I get that. But what I'm trying to say is, no one in a relationship with you wants to feel like that is their responsibility. Okay? You have to be doing some work to build yourself up first before you start turning to someone else to build you up. I feel like you have to realize that your partner is there to support you. They're not there to fix you. And I think that's one of the problems, again, where I say that people don't realize when they just don't belong in relationships. You have to do the fixing yourself. You do the work. Another relationship self-sabotage is holding on to grudges. Again, if you don't know how to accept an apology, you don't belong in a relationship, because there is no perfect relationship. Whoever you're dealing with is going to disappoint you throughout the relationship. There's going to be miscommunication no matter how often you try. It's not going to be perfect. So if you go into relationship understanding that, then you're also going to understand that there will be some disappointments. When a person apologizes sincerely, you have to be willing to accept it. So how do we overcome self-sabotage, the thing that can keep us from living out our full potential? Well, one of the things is to set small goals for yourself, okay? You've been doing certain things like, what can we say? Procrastinating, or let's just say you're one of those people that runs. Soon as someone does start to show you that you deserve love and that you deserve support in a healthy way, you start to have those, toxic thoughts coming in your mind, like, oh, this person must be fake, and this person is playing a game on me. No one really supposed to love me like that. There's people like that out here that have just been hurt so much that when someone is trying to be nice to them, they don't even know how to receive it. They don't know what to do with it. And so they run. So if you're finding yourself to be one of those kind of people where you run from something good happening, you have to set small goals for yourself. Maybe one of the goals could be, when I start to feel like I want to run, I make a call to so-and-so, where you can have someone talk you through it, because it's usually anxiety that starts to build, and then you want to run from it. There's also anxiety reducing techniques that I have taught, and you can learn. Therapists are always available to go over those things with you. So when you're in that situation where you feel like running, you can use some of those techniques to bring yourself down. Deep breathing is one good one. You can bring yourself down to where the oxygen is going through the brain, and you're slowing down your thinking, and it helps you relax. So you don't feel the need to run, and you can actually have a conversation and talk through some of the questions that you have, so you can have that reassurance that you probably need at the time. That's one example. Another one is to probably do journaling, or just use your notes app, whatever works best for you. Because sometimes I feel like what you want to do is learn what your triggers are. And sometimes it's best to write those things down. I think we don't realize how busy we all are. Some of us do, but I don't think we realize to what extent, because oftentimes we still need to break that habit of thinking we can keep this and some of these important things in our mind. Oh, yeah, I usually trip out when somebody does this, or I usually trip out when somebody does that. It's a whole different thing to say it as opposed to actually writing it down and identifying what it is and having to look at it and face it. And then with that, you writing some things that you will use as tools to counter it. I think going through that process helps you to break those triggers, break them down to more manageable tasks in your life, so they don't have that huge effect that they have had in the past. One last thing I want to add that you can do is just remember to practice self-care, self-compassion. We're talking about self-sabotage. So the reminder is that you're doing this to yourself. So all those things that cause you to do these things to yourself can be changed, because you're deciding, first of all, that you want to take control of your life. So for example, when a person gives you a compliment, if you have a tendency to not be able to receive it, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, that's just probably the eyeliner or the makeup I have on my face. So something that you can do is counter those things by, for example, when you receive a compliment from a person, what you can do is just take a deep breath, smile, and just learn to say thank you. Now, when you're changing some of these behaviors that you have been participating in an unhealthy way for years, when you're implementing new tools, it doesn't always happen overnight. And let that be okay. Remind yourself, it's okay. I missed that opportunity, but as soon as another one comes, I'm going to work on it. And this is where that whole I'm a working progress thing comes from. So good people, I hope that you got some really, really good tips out of this video. If you like this video, watch the last one that I posted, because this really goes into the energy that we have within ourselves, that power that we are all born with. Tap into it. Watch that video and find out more. See y'all next time. Don't forget to like this video.